notes. Today we're going to be breaking down playoffs. We're going to be checking out playoff tanking. Is that a thing? It could get pretty interesting, but tell me what's most on your mind right now?
Well, as of right now, today, Thursday, was a matchup between the Spurs and New Orleans. That was a really good game in my eyes. It came down to the wire. Spurs pulled it out 98-91. AD did his thing, 21 points, 14 rebounds. For the Spurs to get this win is really important to me because of the fact they were out of the playoffs literally within a day ago.
Right.
And then with this win, throw them into 7th place. But that also speaks to, the bottom half of the West. The Spurs have the toughest schedule left of their season. These next 6 games alone.
Who are they facing?
Yeah, the next 6 games alone, they have a test every single night. And quite honestly, without having Kawhi, any kind of word what Kawhi's doing, what's going on with him, that's scary.
Where are you, Kawhi? We need you. Spurs need you. I don't care. Because I hate the Spurs. But they do have a tough schedule. They got it looks like maybe they'll take the Timberwolves, because they got them on Saturday.
That's a flip of a coin.
But they got the Warriors, the Wizards twice, and the Jazz, and the Bucks. And I just don't think that maybe the Bucks will be a close game, but the Jazz have been on fire. The Wizards are hot. It's going to be a tough road to the finals. I honestly don't think without Kawhi that they have a hope, but they have Pop. He's a great coach.
He's there for sure.
You're right. It does speak to how the playoffs, that standings are going. And if you look at the West, actually, between the 6th and the 10th seeds, we're only talking about a game and a half apart.
That's close.
It's incredibly close. It's every game counts, which I say all season long, and people say that it's not true that every game counts, but now you're seeing why every game counted the whole time.
Yeah, sure does. And, for me, the way I'm looking at this, even the seeds 9th and 10th, they're right behind that section too. They're probably 2.5 games behind, but that's easily obtainable within these next 16 games that they have left.
Right. So I was looking at it between New Orleans, Utah, San Antonio, Clippers, and Denver. You're looking at they're at New Orleans at 39 wins, and Denver and the Clippers are at 37, and Denver actually has a pretty easy schedule coming ahead of them.
They sure do.
So they could get several wins out of that, and I'm really hoping for it. Denver, help me out.
Ooh, let's go, Denver. Come on now. Give us something to cheer about.
Right. We need our fans. Let's go.
Yeah.
And if you look at the East, it's not as close in the East, but it actually is really interesting if you start to look at the playoff breakdown, which is kind of what we were mentioning at the beginning of the show. The playoff breakdown, you're looking at, you got Boston is the 2 seed, and they're still 5 games back. But that says nothing compared to the Cavs, who are 11.5 games back.
Yeah, that's...
12 after tonight, I think, right? Probably 12.
Probably 12 with this, where they're at right now. And to me, that's just... The playoff race is very important. Again, with the East, it's the same situation. 6 through 8 is only 1 game apart. These last few games are going to be very important, especially when it comes down to those playoff seedings. So, the way I'm looking at it, this bottom half can get turned around upside down. We may even see Cleveland as a 6th seed, just like LeBron predicted.
And see, that is what I think is the biggest thing on my mind tonight is, do you think that the Cavs are purposely tanking their playoff position so that they have an easier road to the finals?
That's a very good question. When immediately I'm thinking of the interview that LeBron had in the locker room where he told the reporters, doesn't matter if I'm a 3 seed, 2 seed, or 6 seed. I'm going to come in and I'm going to be dominant in game 1. Now, my thought is, why would you say that and then have a lackluster ending to your season? In a way, to me, it's like you're paving a road that's going to be easier for you to get to the finals because, let's face it, Cleveland isn't what Cleveland was last year.
Absolutely not. They're definitely not the same Cleveland, and I feel like actually it's kind of really creative, and it never really occurred to me until I started watching how the Cavs start dropping. They're 4th right now. That would set them up to actually play the Wizards first rounds. And I think they're underestimating the Wizards, honestly. And I think people are giving a little bit too much to LeBron and his ability to win an NBA, Eastern Conference championship. I get it. We've seen the patterns. He's not the same LeBron. He doesn't have the teams behind him to support him. I like some of the players on his team. Do I think that they could develop into great players? Sure. Yes, not this year.
I'm with that, yeah.
And what do you think about that matchup? Wizards, Cleveland, who are you taking?
If I'm looking at it right now, yeah, that's going to be the most important matchup for me as far as the Eastern playoffs go. If I were to take one over the other, I'm going to take Washington, mainly because they've been a core for many years now. I think about going on 4 years, they've had the same core of players with Beal, with Wall, with Morris, with Gortat. And with Otto Porter over these last 2 years, I mean, they've really gelled a really good chemistry with one another. And they've been to the playoffs with plenty of experience. So I feel that they may be able to take advantage of that, take it to Cleveland, get in the heads of the new players they got, because they have barely any playoff experience.
Yep.
So I like Washington in that series for sure.
Yeah, I think that it'll honestly, I hope Washington does, if that is the way it plays out, I hope Washington does win. Just to, prove that basketball is not a one-man game. I don't know when everybody decided that it was somehow in the NBA, but it's been, a five-man game forever. And I get that one man can come back and take over fourth quarter and get you those points you need to close out. But win you 7 games, win you 4 games.
You need a supporting cast.
You're going to need some supporting cast. So I would go with you. I would like to see the Wizards win. I think it'll be a good matchup to watch. I do think that right now, if standings stay the way they are, the Sixers and the Pacers will also be matched up in the first round. That would be a series to watch, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot of young talent on both those teams. Indiana is very exciting to watch with Victor Oladipo doing what he is doing, and then Philadelphia with their young core, with Embiid, with Simmons, with JJ Redick being there as the veteran and letting them know how to break things down. So yeah, that's going to be a very good one. I don't know who I would choose in that one. That's gonna be a lot closer to watch than the Cleveland Washington games. So we'll definitely see how Philly turns out. They finally got their core ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I think definitely be checking out those games.
Sure.
What about the West? Any matchups right now? If the West standings stay as is, it would be Houston, San Antonio, Golden State, Utah, Portland, New Orleans, and OKC, Minnesota matchup. And I think, honestly, that would be amazing if San Antonio matched up against Houston in the first round after last year.
Wow.
San Antonio beating them. I mean, D'Antoni's I feel like D'Antoni's got a little bit of he probably loves Pop in real life, but I think he probably on the court hates him. I think he has a mental breakdown when it's gotta go up against Pop against 7 games. It would be an awesome series to watch.
Yeah, but then again, Thibodeau's record in the playoffs has been negative. He never really came out on top, hasn't been able to take advantage of any sort of playoff situation when he had the opportunity. He's had plenty with, some great players, some great point guards and power forwards. But you're right. I think D'Antoni has a different mindset with this year. I know that the team has a different mindset this year. It's actually really surprising that San Antonio is even in the 8th seed right now. This is a team that's been averaging 50 games winning every year for the past,
20 years. They've made the playoffs for 20 years right now. That's ridiculous. There's no wonder I hate them.
Yeah, so the writing's on the wall. It's kind of sad to see them go down the way they are, but Houston is going to be a very impressive team to watch in the playoffs. I'm excited to see what they can actually bring to the table, but if I'm going to tip my hat at any sort of matchup right now, it's going to be Portland against New Orleans. Mainly because there's some really young stars there that make a difference on their teams. Mainly talking about Damian Lillard. I'm also talking about Anthony Davis. These two are superstars.
I heart Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard, watch my show. I heart you.
Nice. Well, shout out to Damian Lillard, man. How we doing? But for that, I would actually go with Portland. That's going to be a matchup for me to watch. Mainly because, the team that Portland has this year, they're consistent. They're not backing down. They not like they ever have. But they have a different attitude, a different atmosphere. The players they picked up over the offseason have been able to contribute, on a consistent basis. Yeah. And like I said, Damian Lillard is balling out right now. He's out of control.
Absolutely. And not to give too much clout to Pop and his mental game. I don't want you to think that I'm thinking Houston's going to get overtaken by Spurs. I think it would be a mental attack by the Spurs on Houston, but I think Houston will come out with it. Houston is a different team than last year. We got to give them some credit.
Sure.
They have different players, this year that they are making work, and I think it's been awesome. The thing about Lillard and Harden and some of these guys is you see them develop their game over years, and I think that's the best thing to watch in players is just how they grow. And that's what's impressed me most about Lillard, as the years have gone on. And first game of the season that I went to for the Nuggets was against Portland, and I was just like, Lillard's gonna be the man this year. I called it. No one heard it. I can't remember who I went to the game with, so I don't know who I told, but I knew it.
Totally agree with that. I feel like he has had a really impressive year, but the fact is there's that many more people having even better years than him. It sucks that he hasn't been able to shine the way he really should, and he could. It's just impressive to watch other players to be able to dominate the way they have been.
So we're wrapping up here. We have one last thing to say, and the one last thing that I think you should keep on your mind is we got some broken 2 seeds, 2-3 seeds. We got some broken stars that are going on right now. The Warriors have reported 3. So we got 3 big stars from the Warriors who are out. That would be Curry with the ankle,
still
rehabbing that. We got KD he's got some sore ribs.
Oh,
poor guy.
You've been hurt too much.
His mom loves him.
She gets some bear hugs, right?
For sure, probably.
For real though.
Tell your mom to stop hugging you so much, KD. and apparently, I saw tonight, Thompson has a broken thumb now. So
broken thumb. Whoa.
Yeah, so that's not coming back sometime soon.
No.
And you got your Celtics over there for week 2.
We're hurting right now. Thesis just got his meniscus repaired this morning, so he's done for the year. Kyrie is nursing his knee. They're saying that he may not even be 100%, and even speculation that there's in the next few years he's going to have some surgery, which that sucks to hear. The biggest key for the Boston Celtics injury report is Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart has been the pillar of defense for this team, has been the pillar of energy. He is really, him and Terry Rozier are the only 2 players that can return from last year's starting roster or at least rotation. And, they are huge keys to this. I'm really afraid as to what's going to happen if Marcus Smart is out for the rest of the season. Yeah. That's going to really affect Boston's defense efficiency, which has been rated majority of this year number 1. We have some real troubling times coming ahead of us.
I know. It's like NBA Armageddon. We're 14 games out from the playoffs, a couple weeks out, and we got players on these big teams that are 2 seeds, 3 seeds, injured, dropping like flies. It's crazy.
He sure is.
Watch out. Armageddon's coming for you next. Who knows? I think people, seriously, be careful out there.
Yeah, knock on wood while you can.
Well, this has been Huddle Up. Hoops.
Hoops or hopes?
Or hopes. We're hoping, this guy's hoping for the Celtics. I'm hoping the Cavs lose.